What's up, guys? Last video with 2018, we're going to finish it out with a video response to one of my wrestling students, former athletes, Ryan Thompson. This is actually a response video to his video in which he talked about being under the tutelage and being under the direction of me as his coach. And in all fairness, I've coached many people, but Ryan, not because he just did a video blog on me, but Ryan is a very special individual to me. And I know for me, as I was a little bit younger, he was probably, man, he was about 2008, 2010-ish when he was competing. And at Bellport, I was a volunteer coach. And I had a lot of vested interest in him because I liked him. I enjoyed being around him. And his work ethic is really second to none. And I'm not just saying that. He's actually the hardest working athlete that I've ever directly worked with. So hats off to him. As a matter of fact, here's a quick picture of him. I dug up some social media, and so I found this picture of him or her on the left when he's a little younger, and now he has a beautiful family, his wife and daughter here on the other side. So that's Ryan. Real quick background on him. He's a personal trainer. I see some of the stuff he puts up online, and it's very impressive. He's a personal trainer. His knowledge of anatomy, kinesiology, how the body works. He works with numerous clients in a physical, I guess what would you call it, physical therapy sort of role, where he's correcting people's postures and making them rehabilitate certain maybe limitations they have in their body. Really awesome to know that material, especially as an athlete. And I feel like his athletic background definitely lends itself and definitely has enhanced his professional career because of that. So just a couple of quick points here that he sort of made. I will leave right here in the description section some of the links to his videos that he did. So if you want to look at the previous videos where he spoke about some of the things that caught his attention, you could check those out, and then you can check my response. But real quick, I'll just do a quick overview. He initially started talking about three important coaches in his life, one of them being me. So I'll just stick with that to make this video brief. He said, it's important to have a coach in your life. And I know for me now, my wrestling career is long, long gone. And it's funny because, well, maybe not funny, but I could tell that even though my wrestling career is over, the scars and being beat up from wrestling is sort of catching up to me now. But I wouldn't trade all that experience, and I wouldn't trade those ups and downs for anything. They make you who you are. But as far as having coaches, it's really, really important. And now I practice jiu-jitsu and I coach jiu-jitsu, and you can look all across the board in wrestling and jiu-jitsu community. If you're a competitor, or if you're somebody who values yourself as a student of the art, student of the sport, or whatever it is, you constantly have to evolve. You have to make yourself a student. And for me, I know I use the word student as an honorable title. I like to assume the title student, even though I hold the rank of a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And some people will call me professor, but I like to consider myself a student. I will always be a student. Same thing with wrestling. I was telling actually one of my training partners last night, Ian Hill. I remember his first day in Jiu-Jitsu, and now he's high-level brown belt. And he's really come up through the ranks, and I've watched him grow. It's really, really interesting and really cool to see. And now he's a brown belt. I remember his first day. And we were talking about, yesterday we were talking about, excuse me, we were talking about the value of coaching and passing things on. And it's important. It's important to have that, because everybody needs a coach. He used to, oh, you were my first coach. And we have another coach, Coach Matt. And he's a brown belt as well. And he said, hey, you gave me my first tip of my belt. And like, they remember these things. People always remember these things. And if you're a good coach and you invest in people, you'll always remember them as well. So Ryan's always been a man after my own heart. And so +1 for him. Thanks for the video blog. But real quick, just to sort of maybe go over something that Ryan and I will always have in common. And I'll leave you with a brief story. First off, we always have wrestling in common. Okay, he wrestled, I wrestled. He wasn't there when I was wrestling, but he was a younger guy, of course. And then I became his coach, So we always have the sport of wrestling. Okay, wrestling is important for young men, highly important, life-changing. All right, it teaches you perseverance, independence, also teamwork though, because you're working with a team. You can't wrestle by yourself, so you have to work in trusting your training partner. Okay, he spoke briefly about one of his training partners, Johnny Rose, who was also a kid. I remember his great family. He's come from a wrestling family. What else does wrestling teach? Taking on adversity, managing defeat. Right? Very, very few people have wrestled and never lost. All right, it's just it's in the nature of competing to eventually lose. You're gonna get to a level where you're gonna get to a competition and you're gonna say, all right, this is where I am, and maybe I'm just not at that level yet, and you have to go back to the drawing board and work on that. Wrestling teaches that. It's a hard pill for many people to swallow, and that's why a lot of people will quit wrestling or one-on-one sports, boxing, jiu-jitsu, MMA. People quit because their ego can't handle that defeat. But in reality, it's one of the best things that can happen to you, because you have to go back to the drawing board and go back and work on your weaknesses, identify your strengths, play to your strengths, play especially to your weaknesses so you can build them up, and then you can come back stronger and better. And many people out there, unfortunately, and it's sad to say, I'm not pessimistic with human nature, but I will say that we as a species, or maybe as a nation, we're starting to get towards the zone where, people are crying and complaining about not having Wi-Fi. People are complaining or whining because they didn't get the toy. Santa didn't bring that toy. They're whining and complaining because, they experienced rejection from somebody and it's too devastating. That's life. It's important. We need to overcome those obstacles. No one likes rejection, right? But it's important because these sorts of things push growth. Highly important. Okay, what else does wrestling teach? Teaches you to be humble in victory. Okay, even though today was your day, tomorrow might not be. So keep your head up, but make sure that your head's not in the clouds. All right, and then you also have to earn your way through experience, which is something Ryan talked about in his video, which is really important. Okay, me as a historical person, I try to apply certain things I learned through history to my mindset, and one of them was, and Ryan enumerated this in his video, something that the ancient Greeks, 480 BC, Leonidas, at the Battle of Thermopylae, was told by the Persian emissary to basically lay down your weapons or give them over. And the Spartans, in good defiance, said, Molon lave, come get them. That attitude of come get it, prove it to me, you're going to have to take it from me, or else we're going to fight to the death. It's a good attitude to have, okay? Now, it's important to not be rigid throughout your whole life. You got to be flexible in certain ways. However, having that sort of never say die attitude will come back and help you push growth. It's very important. And really, just to finish up, Ryan, when my brother passed away about 2 years ago, I hadn't seen Ryan for a number of years. He lives in Pennsylvania. And I've been seeing him on social media for the last number of years, 6, 8, 10 years since we became social media friends, right? Facebook and whatever. And I always appreciated seeing his posts and seeing him do good because I care about him. And I hadn't seen him for a number of years. And I saw him at my brother's wake. And he was there, and I just remember talking to him. And obviously, I cared very deeply about my brother. And when he passed away, it was a difficult time for me. But when he came over, we started talking about some of the things, experiences we had via coach and via student and athlete and some of the places we went. And it's interesting because sometimes these relationships that you make, even in times of great sadness and grief, they can take you away from situations. And when my brother passed away and he was there talking to me at my wake, for a brief moment in time, it took me away to a place where I can remember something a little bit better. So, Brian, hats off to you, buddy. Love you. Last video of 2018. Remember, guys, if you're watching out there, if you're my wrestler, if you are my jiu-jitsu student, if you're my jiu-jitsu training partner, if you are my MMA people, all right, those guys are great too. If whoever you are, if you're out there, keep the positive grind. Stay on the grind. We're gonna keep doing this. 2019, we're not changing nothing. We're going big. We're staying big. My public school students, stay on the grind as well. I'll see you guys real soon. Like I said, last video, 2018, 2019, here we go.